Hello everyone, this is me Garima Singh. We will discuss about the third theme, that is changing tradition. So in this one we will discuss these two parts, the three orders and changing culture tradition. Let's Without wasting time, let's move on to the question part, and it's history, so it's obviously a lengthy chapter. So you have to go through the chapter and then look up these question and answer solutions. So let's move on to the question part. Describe two features of early feudal society in France. So first feature is that uh, early feudal society in France was based on a relationship of lord and peasant. So the peasant had to offer labor in the service of their lord. And second, the lord enjoyed special status. His order was supreme. Nobody could deny his order. Then second is, how did long-term changes in population levels affect economy and society in Europe? So in this one, you can write first point is that these change brought about a new change in agriculture production. Production reached its peak. Good quality of goods was also produced. It increased the life of expectancy rate. Then second point you can quote like a number of towns came into being. They also became the center of trade and commerce. Society became more advanced and civilized. The third is, why did knights become a distinct group and when did they decline? So there was a frequent localized war in Europe during 9th century. Soldiers were not enough. Good cavalry was the need of war. It led to the growing importance of a new section of people, that is the knights. They were linked to the lords. The lord gave the knight a piece of land, and that was called fief. So land of the fief was cultivated by peasants. In lieu of that, the knight paid his lord a regular fee and also promised to fight for him in a war. So in this way, they became a distinct group. The fall of feudalism was one of the main reasons of the decline of knight during 15th century. Then fourth is, what was the function of medieval monasteries? So there's various function. We will discuss like three function of it. First is, it inspired the people to lead a simple life, monastery. Then second, it also inspired the people to serve the sick and the needy. Yeah. Then third is like, it also inspired the people to donate for a noble cause. So these are the function of medieval monasteries. Fifth is, imagine and describe a day in life of a craftsman in a medieval French town. So this question you can done with the help of anybody, elder or teachers, like to do this task. So you write like a craftsman work under the supervision of guilds, and they were skilled person then. Trading guilds control and supervise their activity and took great care of their needs. And sixth is, compare the condition of life for a French serf and a Roman slave. So in this one, French serf, they cultivated land that mainly belonged to the lord. We are discussing French serfs. So most of the produce from these land was given to the lords. So they also had to work that belonged exclusively to the land and were given no wages. And but French serfs, they could not leave the state without the prior permission of their master lord and could not marry their child according to their wishes. And the lord could decide their fate. As a whole, their life was full of misery. Then Roman slaves was in a practice in Roman society. The Roman lead a life full of misery. They were forced to work for several hours. They were forced to produce more children so that when they grew up, they could also meet slaves. So there was a kind of comparison between both. Let's move on to the next, that is changing cultural tradition. So let's discuss the question of it. First is, which element of Greek and Roman culture were revived in the 14th and 15th century? So the religious, artistic, and literary elements of Greek and Roman culture were revived during 14 and 15. And so you have to write that is religious, artistic, and literary. Then second is, compare detail of Italian architecture of this period with Islamic. So huge buildings were constructed under both Italian and Islamic architect. Then decoration was prominent in both the style. Arc and pillar were the important characteristic of both Italian and Islamic. We have till yet we have discussed three things: huge building, decoration, and arc and pillar. Fourth is like beautiful cathedrals and ministry were constructed in Italian architecture. So whereas large and magnificent mosques were constructed in the Islamic style. This is the way you can compare. Why were Italian towns the first to experience the idea of humanism? So, the town of Italy was the first to experience cause of education spread in Italy by the 13th and 14th century. Then, humans as a subject was first taught in Italian schools, core universities. Italian people were made up of aware of humanistic views and ideas. Then, universities were first of all developed here to spread education. Then, a number of classical books were composed by Roman and Greek scholars. Then fourth is compare the Venetian idea of good government with those in contemporary France. So Venice was an Italian city, and the city was free from the influence of church and feudal laws. I mean, in Venice, banker and rich merchants played a significant role, while there was absolute monarchy in France. In France, common people were deprived of their rights. Then fifth is what were the feature of humanist thought? So, humanist thought laid stress on skill and ideas, and that were developed by individual through debate and discussion. So, these revolutionary ideas attracted attention of many other universities, particularly in the newly established university in Petrarch, native town Florence. So, the humanist thought increased dignity of human beings. I mean, humanism embodied the mystical and aesthetic temper of a pre-scientific age. It laid stress on logic, natural science, and metaphysics. It laid emphasis not only on intellectual learning but also on a physical and moral development. I mean, humanism relied on flexible thinking. After Petrarch, the humanist philosophy spread first through Italy, then into other part of Europe. So humanist thought was reflected in the contemporary art and architecture. Even you can write mm, various things like humanism embodied the mystical and aesthetical temper of pre-scientific age. The intellectual of antiquity were relatively unconcerned about the supernatural world and the eternal destiny of the soul. Various things you can write in this question. Then sixth is write a careful account of how the world appeared different to 17th century European. So Renaissance movement brought about rational and scientific approach in the life of mankind, but the world appeared quite different. Scientists used the method of experimentation, observation, and new thought. It was just contrary to Christian belief. Scientific discovery of Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, and Isaac Newton brought new changes in the world. The Italian scientist Galileo invented telescope. Newton gave the theory of gravitation, and he systematized scientific valuation about the universe. So Copernicus tried to prove that Earth rotated around the sun. Marco Polo invention of the compass made voyage easier than exploration of the sailor like Vasco da Gama. Columbus led to discovery of new lands, so their exploration revolutionized trade. The invention of the printing press made books available to the people in various towns and cities. So Rome, Florence, and Venice became the center of art and learning. Many artistic scholars and writers were patronized by the rich people in the cities and towns. So town became the center of art and learning activities. Thomas More's Utopia ridiculed the more practices of contemporary society. On a book basis, it can be said that the world appeared different to 17th century European. Number of invention activities of preservation was carried out during 17th century. So that's for today, and next lecture we will talk about. So we are done with this theme, and next lecture we will talk about next theme. This